to another brand new episode here on 1950's Farm. How are you all doing? Hopefully you're having a good day. As you can see, I am still dragging this field of stubble, and we have been going rather nicely. So I went off to quickly do something and came back, and the John Deere had finished the field. And that was I couldn't believe how quick he'd gone through it. It was like, geez, wait for me. But yeah, so as I say, we're slowly but surely getting this field done. Once I get this field done, we'll then go up to the other field, and I'll carry on with the ploughing. So I did what I kind of said I would do. I got the ploughing started in that field just because otherwise, I mean, obviously you'll appreciate, you know, I've got fairly small equipment and a massive field. You know, we were going to get a full video of ploughing, and I don't necessarily want that anymore. I want each episode to be different jobs. It might still be that today literally this and the ploughing is the only two jobs that we do, because there's still a heck of a lot of ploughing to do in that field. But I am rather keen that we're just not doing the continual same job all the time. And as I said yesterday in yesterday's episode, I'm kind of keen that jobs that we are doing don't stretch into 2-3 episodes. So I'm really making a concerted effort to try some new things, try something new, try and see if we can get more views, hopefully more subscribers, and we're just sort of trying new things. So if you guys like kind of the way the new format's going, and looks like it's going to be going for the future, which at the moment it is, see no reason why not. And I will admit as well, it's actually been more enjoyable to record, which has surprised me, because I enjoyed recording anyway. So it's the fact that it's kind of come along and I'm doing it this way, and suddenly it's kind of like, I actually like recording it this way. Sorry, the reason my tractor keeps stopping is because of my pedals. So anyone will know I'm using the Logitech G920. So you'll hear a bang in a minute. There we go. That is the only way I can get that to stop happening, is every now and again I have to thump the brake pedal, and then everything resets and it's grand again. I know. So hopefully one day, within this century, when I get my own place, the Logitech G920 is going, and I'm going to have farming simulator based steering wheels, and we're also going to have the joysticks and stuff like that. I'm just not allowed them while I'm living in my mum's house, so because she doesn't want the living room cluttered up. Apparently she doesn't seem to realise that they'll be attached to my desk. But anyway, yeah, so that's what we're having to put up with. But yeah, so we'll when we do get eventually to my own place, which I'm not sort of too desperate to move out, if I'll be honest, but it's going to have to happen one day, and when it does, I will start to get more, as I say, I'll start to get the joysticks and the steering wheels and the pedals and stuff, and then hopefully that will become a thing of the past. My Saotech side panel, I'm very surprised at how long that's lasted. I had that when it very first came out. I was one of the first few people to have it, and from 2015, and touch wood, it's still going strong. It still works exactly as it did day one when I got it. And to be fair, I think the key bindings are still the same as day one when I got it as well. I think I've literally transferred them over to every game that I've ever had. For some reason, I just haven't bothered programming it in for 2020 for Farming Sim 25. But to be fair, up until sort of the last probably month, maybe 2 months, I've not really enjoyed the game. And I've just thought, oh, do you know what, I ain't sitting there for a good hour or so, you know, reprogramming all the buttons to suit my gameplay for a game that I'm probably not even going to, you know, spend that much time on. But I will say that, yeah, I have really, in the last probably month, 6 weeks, I've really got into FS25. I found a map that I really liked, and just decided as well to just do something very different. So rather than always being a small farm trying to build his way up, I literally gave myself 25 million quid. I don't normally do this. Went out, bought all the biggest machinery that I could, bought quite a bit of land, and it's a map where you have no farm. So like now the task is to, you know, get enough money to build a farm. You know, you had no silos, so everything had to be sold directly from the field. It's a big map as well. Also as well, just cutting on myself, if you can hear aeroplanes in the background, today is target practice day. So the RAF are up in the skies. We've got on one side of where I live, they're dogfighting, and on the other side of where I live, they're then breaking out of dogfighting and then swooping down to the bombing ranges and blowing the crap out of the banks. But so yeah, so if you do hear loud RAF planes, that's the reason why. It is quite noisy. Anyway, I'm going to switch over to a bit of time lapse. Going to get this field done, and then, as I say, we'll be on to ploughing then. So I'll see you in a bit. back, and we're not doing too bad actually. We're getting through this field quite nicely. It's going to be a bit longer than what I thought actually, to be fair. After I sort of yesterday got this field started, I thought, we'll be well in there. It won't take as long to do that, but I kind of forget. I think it's because on the my own save that I'm sort of doing in the evenings, I'm ploughing on that, and obviously I'm using a 10 for a plough. It's kind of, I think I kind of merged the two together and thought, oh, that don't take too long. They're as big a fields as what these are, you know. We'll be grand, you know. We'll get it done nice and simple. But yeah, this plough is not 10 furrows. I can't remember. I think that plough that I was using, it's the Gregor Besson one. I think that's 10 meters. I think that takes a 10-meter width. So yeah, I'd kind of got my sort of lines blurred there. Because I was kind of sort of thinking when I sort of did yesterday, I thought, I may have done too much here. There might not be enough for a video tomorrow now. And then it's kind of like, oh yeah, no, it's okay, we're fine. What I'll do is, when we go into the sort of next little bit of time lapse, I'll either do the rest of the field off camera, or I'll stop recording for a bit, get a bit more done, and then come back in again, and then sort of go from there. Like I say, you know, sort of trying, you know, sort of different things and trying new things, and I'm gonna get bits right and bits wrong, and you know, but that's, you know, that's the art of learning. But yeah, so it's not been too bad. It's been pretty good actually. This field, of course, will come soybeans next year, or it might become corn. I might have corn in here next year. So trying to kind of mix things up again in the fields, because as you'll know, I sort of talk to Ray quite a bit, and I go and see him. I try to go at least, you know, sort of 2-3 times a week to go and see him, just to make sure he's okay. He doesn't live all that far from me. He lives about 15 minutes down the road, and 15-20 minutes, and so I do try and go and see him as much as I can, and and he said to me, he when I got there, because I bought him a computer, well, a laptop, to play farming sim and to watch YouTube videos and different things like that. And as I said before, he's in his 90s, but you know, he wants to give everything a try, and which, you know, I just admire him for. I think he's brilliant. And I was watching him the other day, and oh well, when I went round, and I went in, and he was on the laptop, and I said to him, I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm watching you on YouTube." I said, "All right." I said, "Well, that's quite embarrassing then." So he said, well, "Why do you say that?" I said, "Well," I said, "I'm like an actor." I said, "I don't like to watch myself." He just looked at me and rolled his eyes. And I said to him, I said, "What are your thoughts?" He said, "It's very good." He said, "And I do enjoy your videos." He said, "And I do enjoy your videos." He said, "You're very likeable. You're very, you know," he said, "like, I like your little stories." He said, "Sometimes they include me, sometimes they don't, you know, blah, blah, blah." So I said, "Right." He said, "You have to forgive my throat, by the way. I don't know what's the matter with it. It's not sore or anything, but I've just seemed to be taking on the sound of a 90-year-old woman that smoked about 90,000 fags in a lifetime." So I don't know why I've gone croaky and husky, but there we go. It's just, I say, I don't know. but you'll have to forgive me. And yeah, so he said to me, he said, one thing I will say. I said, go on. He said, it's not about you. So I said, right. He said, but he said, you got the same fields. I said, yeah. He said, which? He said, like, it's fine. So I said, yeah. He said, but he said, like, every year, he said, like, the same fields have like 1 or 2 crops in every year. He said, it's either wheat or it's soybeans. It's either wheat or it's soybeans. You know, he said, it doesn't work like that. So I said, well, no. I said, I know it doesn't, but I said, because of the equipment is obviously quite small. I said, and you know, I said, like, I'm trying to keep the videos interesting. I said, it's the easiest way for me to do it. And he said, well, it didn't make sense. He said, like, I don't want to see it no more. He said, I want to see some fields having corn in. You know, he said, even do cotton with that slightly newer stuff. He said, it's based off the old stuff. He said, that's fair enough. He said, I'm happy with that. And so I said to him, I said, yeah, but Ray, I said, I'm not really doing this for you, mate. I'm trying to do it for everyone. And he said, yeah, I know. He said, but he said, I'm a viewer. He said, and therefore, he said, I'm entitled to my opinion. So I said to him, I said, oh no, you're definitely entitled to your opinion. I said, it's good to hear feedback. He said, well, I want to see different crops in different fields. He said, I'm fed up with you doing it the same year in, year out. He said, I'm getting bored of it. So I said, all right. I said, fair enough. So this could actually come corn, maybe. But we'll wait and see. But yeah, so, or, you know, even cotton maybe, but I kind of want to do cotton, but I don't want to do like big fields of it, because I don't want there to be too much of it, because it would take quite a long time to harvest the cotton field. I really don't know what's the matter with my voice. It's completely going. And as I said, I've not got a sore throat or anything, so I don't know what's going on. Sounds like I have, but I haven't. But I'm going to go back to some time lapse anyway, because I can hardly talk now. And I'll see you at the end. So see you in a minute. Right, so we're back and we're very nearly finished. Turns out I seem to have hit the perfect amount, which is quite good how that worked. But yeah, so as I say, in this episode we've got this ploughing done and we got the other field cultivated as well, or dragged, or however you refer to it as. We got that done as well. So when we come back in the next episode, we will be on September 1st, or September week 1, or day 1 I suppose, and we will probably be getting on with the soybean harvest. They should be ready. I tried to plant everything on the first day that you're able to, so that it then means that on the first day that we're able to harvest, and it just keeps everything sort of flowing nicely. But we'll see how that turns out. But I'm pretty certain that we'll be harvesting soybeans in the next episode, and getting on with that. It's been never quite sure, because I've never actually ploughed a field like this. I'm never quite sure how you do the last bit. This bit here, and I suppose you just turn in, like, I guess. I don't know. I don't think we're too far out, whatever we do, to be fair. But yeah, because we're able to keep it nice and straight, it does work out pretty much perfectly. So that's very good. That was a very good, young man. I can't believe how quickly these weeks sort of come round and then disappear again. It's I was kind of sat while I was recording this, and I was sort of thinking, this is the last time this week that I'm probably going to be recording 1950s, and then I was thinking, like, tomorrow we're going to be into Sunny Side Up, and then we've got Bevington Farm to come again, and I was like, as soon as I do Bevington Farm, that's the beginning of another week. It's like, kind of, where is this year disappearing to? It's just nuts. I went to Speedway on Monday, first ever time I've ever been. So I go stock car racing, and I love stock car racing, and as you know, I go every weekend of somewhere in the country to watch it, and this week, Monday just gone, it'll be a week ago, last Monday for you watching this, because obviously I record this a week in advance, and I decided to go to Speedway anyway. Really enjoyed it, and going the wrong way. I was meant to go the other way. To be fair, actually, I think we did end up near enough in the middle of the field, which again sort of kind of proves that I did it okay. Yeah, I was meant to go this end. But yeah, so I went to Speedway on Monday and had a really great time. I say, it's the first time I'd ever been. Went to Kings Lynn, went to see the Stars. Do you know what? They're in the Premiership, right, of Speedway, which is obviously like the top league. And I couldn't believe how much it is like football, that it lasts for 90 minutes. You can make substitutions throughout the racing to bring riders in and, what have you. And the other thing I couldn't believe was how good Kings Lynn's teams was. I was, I know the sort of really big names of Speedway, so I've enjoyed Speedway on sort of like TV and sort of watching it on YouTube and stuff like that. And I say, I've really enjoyed it, and I've often thought to myself, I'd really like to go one time. I've never been, and anyway, this last so a week last Monday, I was kind of like, I was sort of looking around online, and on the Saturday when I was at Stock Cars at Kings Lynn, it advertised that Monday was a speedway meeting. I thought, right, I'm going. I thought I'm going to go. I thought I'm going to see what all this is about, right? So I goes to the speedway, and as I say, it's sort of very similar to football. 90 minutes with the substitutions, a manager, a captain, and a set team sort of thing, with some reserves or substitutes or whatever you want to call them. So I'm kind of looking at the team and what have you, and I'm and I couldn't believe, as I say, because I sort of am fairly up on Speedway, I couldn't believe how good their team was. It had Niels Christian Everson in it, Jan Clint, Chris Harris, and the other guy, I can never remember his name. But another Danish rider, and it's a really, really good team. And then it was kind of like, Sheffield don't stand no chance. And then I looked at Sheffield's team; it had Ty Woffington in it. It's kind of like Lewis Kerr. It was like Jack and his brother Rob, I think it is Rob Holder. And I was like, Jesus, that is a team full of stars. Like their team is full of top riders. And then it goes. At the end of the meeting, it was kind of like, hopefully you'll join us on the 2nd of June when we race at home to Ipswich, which is in the Knockout Cup. And I was kind of like, yeah, I'll come along to that. Anyway, had a look at their team, and their team is like the best riders in the world at the moment. Kings Lynn, I thought like Kings Lynn's team was brilliant, and but no, say these other teams, like they really are superb. Anyway. So I was kind of like, oh yeah, I've really enjoyed going. So I got chatting to a bloke at the speedway, and he goes, oh, I see you at the Stock Cars on Saturday. So I said, yeah. I said I was here Saturday night. Yeah, I said good night. Like, I enjoyed it. And he said, he said, you come here as well, dear? I said, no, it's my first ever time. He said, quite. He said, your first ever time. He said, I can remember, he said, 53 years ago, he said, when it was my first ever time. So I said, oh, right. I said, crikey. I said, you've been coming a few years then. So he said, oh, yeah. So I said, that's pretty good. So he said, I want to leave you something to think, because it was right near the end of the meeting. It was like the last sort of race or last couple of races. And he'd sort of come down towards the exit to, get ready to go. And there goes my voice again. And so he said, I want to give you something to think about. He said, about your day here at the speedway. So I said, go on. So he said, how much did it cost you to get in? So I thought, well, you know that because you paid the same as what I did. So I said, 25 quid or 24 quid, I think it was. And he said, 24 quid. He said, how much did you pay Stock Cars on Saturday? So I said, 22 quid. So he said, right. He said, and how long, he said, did you see? He said, how long was Stock Cars on for? So I said, well, I don't know. I said, it started at 5. I said, and I went home about 10. I said, so, well, I said, 5.5 hours then, roughly. So 5.5 hours. So I said, yeah. He said, 22 quid. I said, yeah. So he said, not bad value, is it? So I said, it's all right. I said, to be fair, I said, I don't wish this to sound, I said, but it doesn't really bother me how much it costs. I just enjoy coming. I don't get out much. I'm on my own. I said, it's just nice to have a night out sort of thing, like, I said. And he said, tonight, he said, you've paid 24 quid to see 15 minutes worth of racing. So I said to him, I said, how'd you work that out? I said, I've been here since like about 7:15. So he said, yeah, you've been here since 7:15. He said, but you've literally seen 15 minutes worth of racing. So I said, well, how'd you work that out? He said, each race, he said, is 1 minute long. He said, those bikes do 4 laps in 1 minute. So I said, yeah. So he said, there's 15 races. And I said, yeah. So he said, therefore, he said, it's cost you 24 quid to see 15 minutes of racing. He said, the rest of it, he said, is just the bit in between. He said, you don't pay for that bit, you pay for the racing. So I said, all right. I said, I take it you're trying to put me off from coming then. He said, no. He said, I'm just making you think. He said, people keep wondering why Speedway goes out of business. He said, there you go. He said, if you'd had a couple of kids and a wife and what have you, he said, like, how much would it cost you then? And I said, but I don't. I said, I get what you're saying. I said, like, I don't really understand why you're telling me it. I said, if I'm honest with you, I said, because I said, don't get me wrong. I said, I'm not well off by any stretch of the imagination. I said, but at the same time, I don't mind paying because, like I said, it's a night out for me. I don't get nights out. I don't, otherwise go anywhere. I said, so therefore, I said, it's a bit weird. But when I came home and was thinking about it on the drive home, I was like, bloody hell, that is expensive though, isn't it? I literally may as well just turn up and say to them, right, just run the 15 races and then I can go home again. How much will that be? Oh, it'll be 25 quid. Yeah, all right then, whatever. But fantastic, honestly. Like, if you want a night out and you live near Kings Lynn or any Speedway team, then go, because it is fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And there's way more to the night than just what he said. I mean, like, the entertainment they put on, there is way more to a Speedway meeting. There is a stock car meeting, to be fair. A stock car meeting, they're literally taking cars off the track, putting them on, race them, take them off, put them on, race them. There's quite a bit more sort of show about a Speedway meeting, and I really enjoyed it. Really, really enjoyed it. So yeah. Anyway, I've overrun again by about 4 minutes, so I'm gonna go. Thanks ever so much for watching this episode. I've really enjoyed having your company. Can't wait to see you again next time. Bye for now.